The Seahawks set their 53-man roster. The Mariners are back in first place, and Jewell Loyd continues to shine. Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show. I'm your host, Mikey. Let's get into our main topic, which is going to just bring us straight to the Seahawks. Alright, and from the date I am posting this, September 3rd, we are just a week away from our first game against the Los Angeles Rams, September 10th at 1:25. And just a couple of days ago, we set our 53-man roster. So let's go over that. The first thing we will say is that there was no real big surprises here. They went from a 90-man roster, had to cut it down to 53. And really, nothing was surprising. There's a couple of players that, were there on the fringe that you thought maybe would have an outside chance to make it that ended up getting cut. But again, they were on the fringe, so it wasn't a surprise that they were cut. But let's take a look at what we do have on the roster. Injured, reserved, physically unable to perform list right now. We have two nose tackles, Brian Monet and Austin Falu. They obviously need those big bodies in the middle. We saw in training camp how good Austin can be. Hopefully, he'll be able to recover and come back and help this team, in week 6, because they are both Faulu and Monet are starting on that physically unable to perform list. They're going to have to miss the first 4 games of the season. Again, just watching Austin Faulu play for the Seattle Sea Dragons and the way he was looking in training camp, I think he could be a good depth rotational piece for this defensive line. And he's one of those big bodies that we need. So hopefully he's going to come back healthy and strong, because I think he will help out this team. Again, at this point, the Seahawks have still not made any trades or other moves. They didn't claim any other players off of waivers on the defensive line. So again, the line or the position group that worries me the most still is the defensive line and just the size of that defensive line. These two guys they're big boys, so they would fill that need, but we're not going to be able to start out the season with them. So kind of unfortunate there. Now let's take a look at the players who will be on the team and on the active roster. Okay, not everybody here is going to be playing right away either, because again, unfortunately, we do have some injuries even on the active roster here. Oh, and the other one we should mention, D. Eskridge is still technically on the team as well, but again, suspended for the first 6 games. But here's the rest of the team that will be on the active roster come next Sunday. As of this recording, okay, they could still make moves before the season starts. But at quarterback, your starting quarterback, of course, Geno Smith, and then again Drew Lock. No surprises here. Drew Lock looked like he's going to be a great backup. Again, if you watched the preseason, you watched his timing his throws. He's obviously had a full training camp this year. Last year, he missed a ton because of COVID. This year, he gets a full on training camp, and he looks really good. He looks like he's got a strong cannon arm. Um, and he's still young, still learning this game, and so I can only imagine that his reading of defenses is going to get better over time. But his accuracy was looking good, the arm strength looked good. He's looking like somebody that will be glad if he needs to come in for a couple of series, or if he even needs to come in for like a full half of one game if Geno got hurt, or if he needed to come in for a game or two. He looks like somebody that you could be confident in, say, hey, this guy's going to keep our offense going. Right now, at the running back position, we will have Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet, DJ Dallas, and Kenny McIntosh. Again, no surprises. Kenneth Walker III obviously looks great. Zach Charbonnet, second round pick, been looking great. DJ Dallas has just been, he's been there for them, and he does anything they need him to do. So you always need somebody around like that. Kenny McIntosh, of course, made the team. He's a 7th round pick. He is injured, so he's somebody that we're probably not going to see right away. But again, no surprise he made the team here. At our wide receiver positions, we got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jake Bobo, Derek Young, and Cody Thompson. All right, again, Cody Thompson, I believe he had to deal with a concussion, still making the team. They know, again, he's somebody that they know from what they've seen of him and what they've seen in their camp. They know that he must be worth it to have on the team, right? Because again, another player that was an outside fringe shot, I thought, was Aesop Winston Jr. because of the way he played in the preseason games, especially that last game, right? Well, whatever they saw out of Cody Thompson, they still prefer that, even though he's not going to be active right away. And again, that's deep down the depth chart anyways, because obviously Tyler Lockett's going to be in there, DK Metcalf, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. I know there was a lot of worry about him with the broken bone in his wrist. Again, he got the surgery. We've seen him out at practice. His wrist is heavily bandaged up, but he's still out there catching passes, running routes and catching passes. He's hoping to be ready. He has made it known that he wants to play in game 1. And I think that's a great thing. Again, with Pete Carroll, his thing is always compete, right? So Jackson Smith-Njigba didn't just sit back and say, hey, I got a broken wrist or a broken bone in my wrist. I gotta sit out week 1. He's doing everything he can to recover. Got the surgery right away. Showing up to practice. They have the red jersey on him because they don't want him to get hit and make it worse right now. But he's got the tape around his wrist, red jersey, going out, running routes, catching passes, and letting his coach know, hey, I want to be in the game week 1. Okay, that's a competitor. That's somebody that we want on our team, and that we're glad that we picked at the number 20 pick. Jake Bobo, more Bobo, made the team. Everybody is excited about that, and honestly, the way he performed all throughout the preseason, he earned that spot, and I'm glad he made the team. I hope he makes more plays like that during the regular season. And who knows? We very well could see that in week 1. Derek, again, Cody Thompson out, probably gonna still be out with concussion stuff, recovering from that. Take your time with that. Derek Young, I think he's a phenomenal player that can be a great weapon for this team. That can line up all over the field, right? He is unfortunately injured right now as well, so we probably will see some Bobo out there week 1, and hopefully he makes some of those big catches and for touchdowns. Again, yeah, he's not the fastest guy in the world when you run a 40 time when you clock him, but he knows how to get separation from the defenders and find himself open. All right, at the tight end position, Will Disley, Noah Fant, and Colby Parkinson. Again, no surprises here. All three of these tight ends I'm excited about. I love the talent and depth that we have at tight end. Not much else to say besides that. Offensive line: Charles Cross, Damian Lewis, Evan Brown, Phil Haynes, Abraham Lucas, Olu Oluwatimi, Anthony Bradford, Jake Curran, and Stone Forsythe have all made the team. Again, no surprises. Again, unfortunate that Olu got injured during training camp and is not going to be able to start. Didn't do enough to earn that starting spot right out of the get go from the season, right? So we'll see how he develops and see if he works himself in there. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this offensive line. Defensive line: Draymond Jones, Jaron Reed, Mario Edwards Jr., Mike Morris, Miles Adams, Cameron Young. Again, Mike Morris injury, but the guys that we're going to have up front there: Draymond Jones, Jaron Reed, they'll be the ones that mostly take the duties in the middle. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see these guys in the regular season and see how much of an improvement they are going to make in the defensive line. Like I said, I know it's been my biggest worry, and it still is, but I do believe that Draymond Jones is going to make a big difference for this defensive line, as well as having Jaron Reed back. I definitely do not think this team is going to end up being ranked 30th again against the run. I think just these two alone are a big upgrade over what we had last year, and is going to improve that by a ton. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about our linebackers. Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks, Devin Bush, John Radigan, Nick Bellore, Uchenna Nwosu, Daryl Taylor, Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, and Tyreek Smith. Bobby Wagner, great to have him back in the middle. Jordan Brooks, he's another one that I believe they're saying he's looking like he's going to be ready to go week 1. That will be amazing if that is true. If he's able to pull that off, that's going to be great. Uchenna being out there, they list him here as linebacker, but he's going to be defensive end / outside linebacker. So I'm excited to see how many sacks he gets this year. Mafe was looking great throughout preseason as well, playing again more defensive end, outside linebacker. But glad to see how well he was playing, and again, just another position I'm really liking the depth, linebacker / defensive ends. And then for corners, all right, our cornerbacks: Tariq Woolen, or Reek Woolen as he's going by now, Trey Brown, Michael Jackson, Devin Witherspoon, Kobe Bryant, and Artie Burns. Now, Devin Witherspoon, again, I was telling people, don't worry about Jackson Smith and Jigba. And we weren't talking enough about how we should worry about Devin Witherspoon, because the last couple of weeks he still had not been training. So we were thinking, okay, they're taking their time. They want to make sure he's good for the season, and he's not going to be ready week 1. Very unfortunate and disappointing that our 5th overall pick is not going to be ready for week 1. But hopefully it's not going to be long. They're saying that he's not far off, so hopefully by week 2 he's going to be in there so we can see what our number 5 pick can do. Because again, with Reek Woolen out there, Trey Brown, I believe, is going to be the other corner starting, and then you get Devin Witherspoon in there. It's going to be just, you know, they used to say Revis Island, right? Well, you're going to have three islands out there that you can't throw to, so it should be fun to see. Safety: Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, Julian Love, Jarek Reed. Jamal Adams also not going to make week 1. Again, I know that's a lot, really disappointing for a lot of fans. Again, considering how much we gave up to get him, right? Again, not far away, and we got to be patient because we don't want to rush him. And I have a feeling when he gets back, he's gonna be in that form that we want to see. And again, like I said, whether he plays or not, it does not change my opinion of how many games this team can win. But it could change how dominant they look in those wins. So we want him 100% healthy all the way back when he comes back, so that, like Pete Carroll said, they want to make sure when he gets back that he's good to go, so that he'll be back, for a long period of time. And then our special teams, we got the punter Michael Dixon, kicker Jason Myers, and long snapper Chris Stoll. I guess that's a little surprising, right? That they went with a new long snapper this year, but really, I mean, not really a big surprise or anything, but yeah, I think Michael Dixon's a great punter. Jason Myers, great kicker. Hopefully, he has another great year, and that is your 53-man roster. Let me know what you guys think. Was there any big surprises that you thought? Were you really thinking that Aesop Winston Jr. was going to make it? I know, people were feeling Cade Johnson had a chance. Levi Bell was looking good. Now, Holton Allers, okay? I know everybody was talking about him and how fun he was to watch in the preseason. He's obviously, not going to be on the roster because you have Geno Smith, you have Drew Lock, and you with the new rule that the NFL made, with you're able to like bring a third quarterback along, so you could put a quarterback in if both of them go down, then there you go, that's the guy. But you're not going to keep him on your roster when the NFL made that rule. Okay, so yeah, so there's that. Again, no, otherwise than that, nothing surprising to me. So let me know if there was anything surprising to you. All right, there you go. There's your 53-man roster. I believe we went all over the injuries already. So, yeah, let's just get ready for week 1. And we can move on now to our next topic, which is going to be our Seattle Mariners, our first place Seattle Mariners. All right, and if you're watching on YouTube, I gotta pull up the standings for you to look at on this one. Here we go. Let's get down here to the AL West, sitting at top all by themselves. The Seattle Mariners, 77 and 58, top of the division, 7-3 in our last 10. The night I'm recording this, we had just defeated the New York Mets in a great fashion, with JP Crawford hitting his 14th home run this year in the 9th inning to win the game. Ended up being the winning run anyways. And like I said, just look around our division. Okay, look around our division. The Mariners, the last month and a half since the trade deadline, really, they have been playing like they want to win this division. The other teams in this division are playing they don't want to win the division. like they're allergic to it or something. Houston Astros in their last 10, 5-5. The Texas Rangers are 3-7 in their last 10 games. We're gonna go take a look. Let's take a look over here at the wild card standings. Shows Seattle right there at the top, but if we look at the wild card, Tampa Bay's at the top, of course. Houston still firmly in there. Texas Rangers still barely there. Can you imagine? Seattle was down at one point around the trade deadline. We were behind 10 games, okay? And you all remember me saying I think that is still doable. That amount of games can be overcome with the amount of time left in the season. It's going to be tough, especially, Seattle seemed like themselves. They were allergic to being anything else than 500 there for a while, but they really turned it on since the trade deadline. Players finally playing up to their baseball card, playing to the potential they're supposed to have, what they've done the rest of their careers. And then, Canzone and Rojas coming in have been helping out this team as well, but much improved over what we were replaced. They overcame Seattle, overcame a 10-game deficit to be on top of the division, and Texas is possibly on their way out of the playoffs. They are sitting in the third position of the playoff spot. Okay, and we still have what? That's close to just under 30 games left, like 27 games left. And Toronto is just a game and a half behind them. Boston is 5.5 back. Okay, so there's and if Texas keeps playing the way Texas has been playing, yeah, they're looking like they went from way up in first place in the division to possibly now falling out of the playoffs entirely. And I got to tell you, for me personally, it's going to feel so satisfying because you guys have heard it here. I wavered a little bit when they were sitting at 50-50 after 100 games. I was not feeling as confident as I had most of the season about the Seattle Mariners being able to turn it around and come back and get into the playoffs. But mostly, I hardly ever wavered on the Mariners and my belief in the core talent of this team and them being able to get into the playoffs. Okay, but while they were sitting at, again, 500, and everybody was acting like they were, like they had the Oakland A's record or something, saying that, Seattle doesn't know how to build a team. They're not doing it right. Look at Texas. That's the way you have to do it. You have to go out and spend a ton of money in free agency. That's how you get in the playoffs and win the World Series. Well, there's tons of ways, right? And look at Texas now. I haven't heard anybody say that for the last month and a half, but you sure can look on a lot of people's profiles on Twitter and just them saying how much Texas was doing it the right way, and that's what the Mariners should be doing. Well, look at them now. It's not. There's not just one way, and I think that's the other thing that I feel really. I'm going to be really satisfied with if Mariners do end up just totally entirely winning this division as well. Like again, with the amount of games left and how close this race is, the Mariners they could fall out of the playoffs entirely themselves as well if they like totally broke down here the last about 30 games. But especially if they win division, I'm going to feel especially satisfied just knowing that there's so many people out there that were like ragging on me, telling me that no, this was not the way Seattle should be building the team. This it'll be proof that there's more than one way to build a team, and that Seattle is doing it the right way. That they had a plan and they stuck to the plan. Now there was a couple of points in the plan that were executed poorly, but thankfully they were able to remedy that, and they are, heading to a division win. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the season. Again, I mean, in general, the Mariners have just been still playing out their mind. Julio Rodriguez is currently on a 15-game hitting streak, the longest hitting streak of his career. Again, JP Crawford is continuing to be a great leadoff man, and lately hitting some homers when we really need them. Teoscar Hernandez, if it wasn't for Julio, he'd be the one we'd be talking about right now being so hot, because he has just been on fire lately, finally playing like the player that we hoped we were signing from the beginning of the season. So that has just been absolutely awesome to watch. Again, we played against the Mets tonight, and just watching the way this team, when they get rolling on offense, that they all get on board and do it together, and how that seems to really energize them for their defense as well. I mean, we saw a great play. Who was it? Vogie of the Mets tried to stretch a double. And it was just funny because you saw the throw come in from the outfield. JP Crawford is the cutoff man, so he cuts it off and he turns around and he kind of hesitates because he looked like he was surprised that he saw him trying to stretch it out to a double. So I think he was almost prepared not to throw it, and then he had to throw it, and they tagged him out. But again, I think it was JP was surprised that that big man was trying to stretch that hit into a double. All right, there you go. That is your Seattle Mariners. Again, first place with again, Julio looking like he's going to be getting votes for MVP. I mean, like so far this month, he hasn't done anything to dissuade anybody from change or make anybody change their mind that he's not worthy of some MVP votes this year. Again, we got Shohei Ohtani doing what he's doing this year, so he's gonna win. But how amazing is it that Julio's already gonna be receiving some MVP votes in his just his second year and at only 22 years old. Okay, we do have a little Kraken thing to mention here. And so for your Seattle Kraken, they sign forward Devin Shore, and they agreed to terms with him. He's 6'1", 206 pounds, 29 years old. I don't really know that much about him, so I kind of went through and looked at his career stats. Now, the one thing that looks a little uh, worrisome to me is that he hasn't played more than, he's I guess he's played a little bit more than in half the games, but he basically since 2017 or 2018, uh, after that season, he only plays in about half the games. So I don't know what happened after his first couple of seasons in the league, where he played all 82 games, then went down to half each season. So I don't know if it's he deals with injuries a lot, or is it just because he became a bench player? I don't know. I have to look more into it. You hockey experts, let me know. Like I've said, I'm not a hockey expert, just Seattle Kraken fan. So I'm still learning this game. Don't know all the players, but I did see that he has quite a few games, or not quite a few, but a handful of games played in the playoffs. So maybe they're thinking he has, because he has a little bit of playoff experience and he's been in the league since, well, he made his debut in the 2015 2016 season, but we'll say 2016. Okay, so he's been around for a few years. Maybe they're thinking that the veteran leadership can help out in the locker room, maybe. All right, so there you go. There is your Kraken news. Let's get to the Storm. Okay, Seattle Storm. Since the last recording, they had a loss to the Chicago Sky. They lost to Las Vegas tonight. They did pick up a win in the middle there against Los Angeles Sparks. That game was fun to watch. They played really good team defense in that game throughout most of the game, and that was really good. And even the game, again, that's why I'm saying the Storm this year, they're still fun to watch, even though they have a horrible record. They're fun to watch most of the game, right? Because the first three quarters, they were playing a really close game against the reigning champion Las Vegas Aces, right? And then they just totally broke down in the fourth quarter, and this game ended up being 103 to 77. I mean, it just progressively got a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse. I mean, we were about like tied at the end of the first quarter, right? And then down a little bit second quarter, and then I think we got it close a little bit again in the third quarter. But then by the time the fourth quarter was over, I mean, it was not good. But Jewell Loyd was good again, and Jewell Loyd in general for this season has played great. She's got over 800 points now. I think she's just like 8 points away from setting a single season record. Diana Taurasi's record of 860 points in a single season. She scored 28 points tonight. Jewell Loyd did, so I believe that's going to end up putting her about 8 points away from the record. So she should obviously break that in the next game. But other than that, so at this point, because we are at the, we're coming up here at the end of the season. Let me take a look at exactly how many games we should have left. So we're 37 games in, so we got 3 games left. Okay, so what we're looking at is ourselves getting the draft lottery. Again, the way the draft lottery works in the WNBA is it takes the record of the last 2 years, because we had a pretty good record last year. We would have had to like totally tank this year to get a better pick. So it's looking at this point, we are going to end up with the fourth highest chance. So there's going to be four teams that get the lottery pick. We're going to get the smallest percent chance to get the number one overall pick. We're going to get like the 10.4% chance. But we are guaranteed a top four pick, so that's good. We'll see who decides to come out this year. There could potentially be a lot of players that are eligible to come out that decide not to. We're thinking like all the big names, right? You're thinking Caitlin Clark. You got Beckers, Brink. Who else is in there? But basically the big three right there. They all are eligible to stay in college for one more year. So we'll see how that plays out and if we're able to land one of them or not. But yeah, there's your Seattle Storm, looking like they are locking in that 10.4% chance for the lottery, and we'll just cross our fingers and hope that we end up with a higher pick than 4. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit Sounders. Okay, and our Seattle Sounders, all right, they've been doing a little bit better lately, we'll say. So they had a draw with Minnesota 1-1. They won against Austin FC 2-1, and then again the night I'm recording this, we went against Portland and disappointingly ended up with a draw, 2-2. And I say it was disappointing because we went into halftime leading 2-0. Raul Rui Diaz scored in the 9th minute. Leo Chu scored in the 30th minute. Leo Chu, I don't know why, but he took off his shirt during his celebration after scoring the goal. Everybody knows that's against the rules. He does it, gets the yellow card, of course. And then again, all right, dumb mistake, whatever. We head into halftime, leading 2-2. Leo Chu, horrible tackle, right? Ends up getting the second yellow card, which is your automatic red card, and he's out of the game. Then we're playing a man down, and then Portland ties the game up, eventually 2-2. Again, just disappointing that we didn't end up getting the win when we were looking so good out of the gates, and then end up just with the draw. Again, we'll take the 1 point. 1 point is good. Again, we're after the game, we're still in second place now in the standings overall, but it sure would have been nice to have 2 more points to add to that point total. Instead of just 1, it would have been nice to get the 3 total. But that's where the Sounders are. At least they are starting to find the back of the net again and actually score some goals. Just they need to pick up the defense, I guess, and and the coach needs to sit down with Leo Chu and make sure he's making some good decisions when he's out there on the field. All right, there's your Seattle Sounders. Let's go ahead and talk about the OL Reign. All right, and since the last recording, our OL Reign lost to Angel City FC 2-1. So I'm recording this on Saturday, September 3rd, but this is going to come out on Sunday. No, sorry, I'm recording it on Saturday the 2nd, but the episode will come out on the 3rd. And that is going to be their next game, playing against the Orlando Pride. So hopefully they can get back on track because at this point in the standings, the OL Reign, because we had a draw and 3 losses recently, we find ourselves sitting on the outside of 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 a playoff series. Okay, again, we had 5 players gone for the national team, the U.S. women's national team, and then a couple other players gone that were playing for other national teams. So having all our players back, Rose Lavelle, Megan Rapinoe, it's I think it's going to be huge and help this team hopefully pick up some more wins to add to our point total so that we can get back into the playoffs. Again, Megan Rapinoe is retiring. If you can find yourself in the stands to watch her play her last home games here, I would definitely try to make it a point to do that, especially that last October 6th game. They that's going to be the big ceremony send off for her, since it will be her last home game. And there's like a special promotion going on for that game too, where Pearl Jam and their Vitology Foundation is working with them, so they're going to be giving away like a Pearl Jam OL Rain themed scarf. So it should be a really fun last game if you can be there for her last home game. And let's keep rooting them on, hoping they can get some more wins and get some more points to get back into the playoffs. And then let's see here. Any news out of the Sea Dragons for the Kraken? Nothing new to talk about them. Again, just glad that players like Ben DiNucci are making the roster over there for the Denver Broncos. Glad that Falu found his way out to the Seahawks, and he's just like the type of player that the Seahawks need. And we're just hoping that he recovers from his injury quickly and will be ready to go as soon as he comes off of that. Off the pup list, so that we can add some more depth to our defensive line in the interior of it. And yeah, there you go. There's all that. Now I do have one other little bonus thing I want to talk about. Fantasy football. I did a fantasy football draft this week with my coworkers that I have a league in. There's a league that we have at work, and I'm in the league. We expanded this year to 16 teams, so it's a huge league, and that meant because it's such a huge league, you don't want to make it to the point where there's nothing to do on the waiver wire at all. So what we did for our league is they removed 1 running back and 1 bench spot. So the roster size overall is smaller, but it was still really fun. We did an auction draft with 16 people. Oh my goodness, it was like 3 hours long. If it wasn't quite 3 hours, it felt like it was 3 hours, but it was still fun. So let's talk some fantasy football. I'm going to show you who I got on my team. This is who I ended up with. We'll just go down. I'm not going to go over the order I drafted them, but for my quarterback, I ended up with Derek Carr, running back Bijan Robinson, wide receiver Chris Olave, wide receiver Keenan Allen, tight end Sam Laporta. In my flex spot, I'm going with wide receiver Christian Watson. For my defense, I took the Seahawks defense, kicker Cameron Dicker, and then in my bench, I got Amari Cooper, Damian Pierce, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston. Okay, I'll tell you what. I was pretty impressed with some of the people that were drafting. Again, we did an auction draft, so I was pretty impressed by the knowledge that some of these new people in the league had. So I wasn't quite able to target everybody I wanted to target. So you have to be able to adjust your plan and have backup plans when you go in to a draft, right? Whether you're doing an auction draft or a snake draft, you never know who people are going to pick ahead of you. So you got to be able to adjust. My plan going into this was to get like one of the big name receivers, and then go no running back till like round, maybe like 5, 6, or 7. I was going to go after all the big receivers because again, we only have one running back, starting running back for this league. All the big names went, so for way more than I was willing to spend, because if I spent way too much on one of the big names, then it was going to take away from the middle tier players who I think have the biggest chances to break out this season. So I ended up going with Bijan Robinson. He was my highest paid pick, but and again, I didn't even originally plan to take anybody, in the first tier. At best, I was targeting with my original plan to go after somebody like at the end of second tier running back. But once I had to shift my plan, I decided to go after Bijan because I think he's got Marshall Faulk ability. So I think he's going to be putting up big numbers his rookie year. And there's been more than one rookie running back that's been the #1 running back for the year in fantasy before. So I think I'm really happy with that pick. Chris Olave, I think big potential to break out. Keenan Allen, as long as he can stay healthy all year, I think he's going to be a touchdown machine there with the Chargers, as long as him and Herbert are going to have to stay healthy. But if they're able to keep it together, then I really liking what they're going to do there. Sam Laporta, Detroit Lions rookie tight end. A lot of people not too high on many tight ends in general, and then especially not rookie tight ends. But I think Sam Laporta is going to be way different. Okay, I was going with him. I actually originally drafted Dalton Kincaid, and then decided to drop him and go after Sam Laporta because I basically flipped a coin which one I was going after during the draft, and went with Kincaid during the draft. But then I picked up Laporta because I finally decided I think he's just going to be, with that Detroit offense, I think he's going to put up good numbers. And then look who he's going against in week 1, Kansas City. Yes, with that offense and his skill set of being a receiving, he's basically a wide receiver tight end. So I'm thinking he's gonna, especially week 1, help me put up some big numbers in that position. Christian Watson, again, a guy I think has big breakout potential. Jordan Love, I'm hoping is going to be good and better than what people think. Because he's been sitting on the bench for years behind Aaron Rodgers, right? So a lot of people don't know what to think, or a lot of people think he's not going to be good because he was a bench player. Well, when you're behind Aaron Rodgers, that's why you're not getting on the field. So I'm hoping he gets to prove this year why he was a first-round pick, and that it works out for me. Christian Watson is going to be his main guy. Now, Seahawks defense. Okay, I went with them because, again, to me, like I said, guys, I think this team is going to get a lot of takeaways this year. They're going to force turnovers a lot this year. So that's my hope, is that was a sleeper pick at on defense, and a team that is going to get me bonus points some weeks over what you expect out of a defense just based off of creating turnovers. Cameron Dicker, Chargers kicker, you can't go wrong there, right? Because they're going to be a high-powered offense, so you would think the kicker is going to get a decent amount of points. And now I don't like the way the manager set up the points in this league. He's got 3 points across the board. So, like, an extra point is just 1 point, and then everything else is 3 points. This league only started, this is our 3rd season. I will mention I was the champion the very first season that this league was created. But the manager of this league made it so that it doesn't matter what the distance is that the kicker kicks from. It's the kicks are only 3 points. Disappointing to me. I like, for me, just all my life growing up playing fantasy football, I always prided myself in knowing who the kickers were, who were accurate kickers from long, so that I would try to draft them to get those bonus points from kicking it from longer distance. So in this one, basically, I didn't care who the kicker was. I was just like, okay, I guess look for a kicker that's on a high powered offense because they will get the most chances to kick extra points and or at least be in field goal range because their offense should be good enough to be there. So that's who I went with. My bench, again, a lot of players who could break out. Amari Cooper, I didn't even want Amari Cooper, right? He did finish top 10 of wide receivers last year. Same guy who's the manager of this league. I was trying to bait him into taking Amari Cooper because he thinks that the Browns are going to be a playoff team this year. So I was thinking that he was going to go after Cooper a little bit more because he thinks Deshaun Watson's going to have a big bounce back year. And I was thinking he might try to go after Cooper. So I was trying to bid him up. Didn't work out for me. I ended up being stuck with him. But who knows? If that's true, then I guess it works out for me that I'll have a top 10 wide receiver that I didn't even mean to end up picking, and that I paid I think it was still $15 or $20 less than what his ADP was. So I'm not going to feel bad about it if he does good. I took Dameon Pierce out of Houston, the running back, because I think he's going to be, one of their best offensive pieces there. CJ Stroud is there. He's a young quarterback who does not have great receivers, right? And the offense is going to need to move the ball, and Dameon Pierce is going to be the guy that they use to move the ball. So he's going to get a lot of volume there. Jordan Addison, he very well could be moved up into my flex spot up there after week 1. I'm banking on that. I'm banking on. We're looking at I'm hoping it's going to be like a Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I'm hoping it's going to be like a Jamar Chase and Higgins. I'm hoping it's going to be like a AJ Brown and Devontae Smith situation where even though Jordan Addison is technically the second receiver on his team, he's still going to be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy point value. So I was really glad to get him. I got some people trying to trade for him from me, but I'm having a hard time with the idea of letting him go because I almost have a feeling that he's going to be like one of the guys I end up starting every week because of that Minnesota offense and the other weapons there, and him being the new rookie guy. I mean, a lot of other players are going to be taking quite a bit of attention, so he might find himself open quite a lot. And Quentin Johnson, again, I have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. They're both, likely to get hurt. So Quentin Johnson, he could be, a big he could find himself suddenly in a much bigger volume than we expect right now when Mike Williams inevitably goes down with an injury and somebody has to come up and take a spot. So that's why I went with him. But I'd love to hear how any and all of your fantasy drafts went. Please let me know how they went. We didn't get enough response to start a league of our own here. I guess. I mean, the day I'm recording this, it's Saturday the 2nd. I'll be posting it on the 3rd. If there's people out there who, again, like mine, I'm really happy with my team. I think I'm going to win the championship. Yeah, I got Derek Carr at my quarterback. Not excited about that because we have people in our league, multiple people in our league, I think, that drafted 3 quarterbacks. So not like excited about my quarterback situation exactly. I don't feel like super bad about it, but not super excited. But I think overall I have a roster that could win me another championship in this league, and then I can brag that I've 2-time champion out of the 3 years that we've been doing it. But maybe again, if you're like me and your draft didn't go according to plan, and you want another shot at it, you'd have to let me know like right away. But if there's enough of you out there that want to do it, get into another fantasy football league, let me know, and maybe we'll try to put a fantasy football league together for the listeners out there. All right, that is going to be the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate it. Appreciate you sharing it. Hitting the, if you're on YouTube, hitting the subscribe button, hitting the notification bell, hitting the like button. If you're listening on podcasts, whatever platform you're listening on, I appreciate you sharing it, telling your friends about it, leaving a review. All of that stuff helps people find the show and helps build the community. And that's what this is all about, is Seattle fans being Seattle fans and being excited about it. So there you go. Thanks for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken and breathe fire. So take cover, because with the sea of sound you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.